Hey everyone, let's build Legos and talk about special interest. Many of my subscribers know, but if you're new here, I'm autistic. I was diagnosed at age 19 when I was hospitalized for a month at a pain clinic. Even though I was diagnosed later in life, I've always been autistic. I know, shocking. Girls statistically get diagnosed later than boys due to medical misogyny, and women's medical issues are significantly understudied, again due to medical misogyny. So I'm not really an outlier here. Even though I was diagnosed late, I've always had autistic traits because I have always been autistic. I have always been terrible with social cues and telling the difference between sarcasm and the truth. My common sense is not the same as neurotypical people. Some people instinctually know to knock before entering a room. They know to use oven mitts when taking something out of the stove, to blow on hot food before they eat it, to introduce yourself by name and meeting new people. Locking your doors at night, being aware of your surroundings, knowing when people are flirting or being rude, etc. Things like that never came easy to me. In fact, common sense applies so little to me. I have been given these lovely nicknames and statements. Should have been born a blonde. She's book smart, not street smart. Dense, naive, ditzy, baby, clumsy, beauty school dropout, Frenchy. The naivete of a 12-year-old. That one is for my dad. For clarity's sake, I'm 23 and he said that to me. She would be easily taken advantage of by others. That one was from my psychological evaluation. As you can hear, common sense is not my forte, and probably never will be. However, to me, nobody else has common sense, okay? Common sense to me has always been knowing things like Van Gogh's brother was the one to pay for all his doctors. The cause of Van Gogh's death is actually highly debated due to the fact it would be near impossible to shoot yourself from that angle. I mean, I don't know why nobody would know that, because it's pretty obvious to me. The majority of his paintings were done while he was institutionalized for his mental illnesses, and cartoons are becoming more overstimulating because the average frames per second used to be 12 and now it's 24. And you see that with your eyes, so I don't know. I've always understood the world through animation and through the great artists like Van Gogh and Frida Kahlo. I can connect any conversation back to Van Gogh or animation. In fact, animation was my first special interest, then Van Gogh. However, nobody knew it at the time that it was a special interest because I wasn't diagnosed. They just thought, man, this girl really likes animation. Girls' special interests typically don't get noticed because they help them mask their autism. Some examples of special interests that help girls mask would be fashion, makeup, psychology, literature, animals, dance, etc. The arts are also very common, so again, I'm not really an outlier in the autistic community. The vast knowledge autistic individuals have about certain subjects can help them blend in and mask their autism without even realizing it. Though, of course, they will get really fatigued from constantly trying to keep up with their peers who are always on to the next trend and you're still obsessing over your special interest. I may have not had many friends growing up due to my autistic traits, but it didn't raise concerns because it's normal for girls to be shy. I was a pleasure to have in class, but I was so quiet and could talk more. Too scared to raise my hand due to my questions seeming stupid to my peers, and I was winning awards for art at a young age. I seemed like a talented, shy young girl thanks to my special interest. Special interests can be helpful in some cases. A lot of times they can be a hindrance, though. Have you ever heard of the stereotype of horse girls or the warrior cat kids who pretended to be in cat packs during recess? Yeah, a lot of those girls just had autism. They're labeled by things they talk about most, and a lot of times there's a reason for that. It is the person's special interest, after all. Their peers think they're weird and off-putting, but most of the time they can't put their exact finger on why they think their peers are weird. They just talk a lot about one specific thing. I have experience with this, as when all of my fellow middle schoolers were growing out of cartoons, my interest only grew. I often got made fun of for still watching kids' cartoons like Wow Wow Wubbsy, Little Bear, Sailor Moon, and a lot of other stuff. I would consume any cartoon I could get my hands on. When people physically bullied me, I realized what they were doing because, they were tripping me and kicking me into a trash can. But sometimes the words sounded nice and the tone just didn't register. I've actually had a couple of people apologize for the way they treated me in school, and I didn't even realize they were bullying me. Compared to the other kids, they were insane. Like, at least they weren't punching me in the nose. What I'm trying to say is special interests can be a blessing and a curse. Special interests are a helpful tool to understand a world that makes no sense. An outlet to rely on when the world becomes too much, too loud, too overstimulating. Vincent van Gogh became one of my first special interests after animation due to the fact that this world made zero sense to me. Starry Night, his most well-known piece, was my first exposure to him around age 7 when I saw it in art class. I found myself instantly drawn to the piece. The way the stars glow and vibrate in a static painting enamored me. Like a still frame from my consistent nightmares as a child, where I dreamed I was abducted by aliens. Odd, I know. Even though I lacked a diagnosis and answers as a kid, I knew subconsciously I did not fit in with my peers. The nightmare consisted of me being abducted by aliens so they could return me home, but I sobbed because I didn't want to leave my mom, but I knew I had to go away. Anyway, that's the premise. Sorry for the tangent. I'm just trying to get the point across why I felt an instant connection to Starry Night. The more I researched Van Gogh, the more I became obsessed. It became more than just the painting that I connected with, but his personal life, with his constant mental health issues and his protective older sibling. It was his brother, but I have that kind of connection with my older sister. Anyway, today I know most everything about Van Gogh. I own so many sweaters with his works on them, have posters of his paintings on my wall, framed prints, music boxes with his work on it, and I'm sure many more things. My obsession with him has not stopped. I cried at age 13 during the Doctor Who episode when they traveled to the past to meet him. I had the privilege to see one of his works specifically in person, specifically Van Gogh's irises. I had to sit down and use my inhaler. I thought I may die. That was when I was 21. I'm 23 now, so I don't foresee this special interest ending ever, nor would I like it to. I am who I am thanks to those special interests, though I don't always like being me. I know it can be annoying listening to me talk about Van Gogh or the history of animation for the millionth time. However, they are what taught me to find beauty in life. They make me want to live. And yeah, did I become so obsessed with my Van Gogh Legos that I forgot to eat and go to the bathroom and didn't notice until I became so shaky I couldn't put the Legos together? Why, yes, I did, but that's okay. People will always assume I'm lesser than once they figure out I have autism. I encounter doctors that baby talk me once they see autism in my chart. People say they would have never thought I had autism, or I'm so well spoken for an autistic person. Well, newsflash, autism doesn't look one certain way. That's why it's called autism spectrum disorder. It's a spectrum, people. There are literal geniuses who have autism because of special interests. Autistic people are the ones who make your groundbreaking discoveries. It's not the neurotypical people. They don't have the focus for that. Not saying that's going to be me. Definitely not. I'm too busy drawing to make world-shattering discoveries, but those with special interest in science and math have always existed. I mean, the Albert Einstein was literally theorized to have autism, though we'll never know for certain because he died far before the name for autism even existed. All I'm trying to say is special interests are called special for a reason, and it's not something we should have to shy away from. Some harmful therapies exist to help us talk less about our interests, like applied behavior analysis, more commonly known as ABA therapy. I just don't get it. The world is already so hard and unfair for autistic people, and people want to make it even harder, just so their life is easier. so they don't have to hear us talk as much. Well, too bad. Let us all continue to enjoy our special interests and connect with the world in our own way. I would also appreciate if neurotypical people stop using words like special interest and hyperfixation for a simple hobby, because they're diminishing it. A special interest is something us autistic individuals can't live without. It's how we connect with a world not made for us. Our own needs come after the interest. I'm not trying to be the world police or a hipster that thinks they own something because they quote unquote discovered it first. A special interest is just so much more than a hobby. It's life. I hope you all understood me and I didn't come off all high and mighty, because I'm certainly not trying to. I'm just a weird girl who loves Vincent van Gogh, and I want you all to remember to stay weird. Bye!